Hello everyone, today is gonna be part 7 of our little tutorial series, and today we're going to learn how to actually spawn player. In the previous video, you guys gonna notice that we actually made save files that are actually going to store our player information or our core information. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to actually spawn a predicted player, and I'm gonna teach you guys how to use that. So let's just get started. I think it's going to be a short video, by the way. Anyways, let me just get right in. And now here, we're going to start not by components, because I think I explained it, although badly, on the sixth part, but I don't actually care that much. So, I'm going to explain how to spawn the player itself, and today I'm going to make a better explanation, because I'm trying to improve myself. I'm going to be a better teacher. But anyways, let's try to explain all the systems that we have in the server, okay? So first of all, you guys gonna notice that we have this resource, okay? This resource, nothing special, just a map, okay? It maps according to the client ID, the entity that is player. You know, that's basically what it does. Why do I use this guy? I'm pretty sure I'm gonna use him a lot with player movement. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use him forever. This guy might die in like next repos, but I don't care. Or next commits. I don't know. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You guys gotta get used to it. But he might die. I know he might die. Yeah, he probably did. He probably will die. I'm not sure. But anyways, here you're gonna notice that we have a different system. Okay, and spawn player one core is a really simple system, but I'm going to try this new method of explanation. And if someone dislikes it, I'm gonna try to make it a little better. Okay, you can just shove it. But anyways, so like as I said, let's try to do this. So what does the function spawn player core does? You know, what does this little thinking guy does? Spawn player core. Okay, what does he do? You know, so spawn player core is really interesting because he's gonna notice that he's an observer, which means that he's going to only be triggered when an event occurs, only be triggered when something occurs. You know, so he's not gonna be running. He is not gonna be running all the time. That's usually like how it works on that tutorial series. You know, so he's not gonna be running all the time. You know, that's really important that you guys understand. He's not gonna be running all the time. Second of all, you're gonna notice that he will only trigger when we receive own add core information, which is something that we actually spawned on the previous video on part 6. Read it and watch it. But basically, for those who don't remember, core information is nothing more than the save information that we had on previous saves. You know, and it actually is the guy who's going to tell you if it's an old player or if it's a new player because of the way that our saves actually work. If you want to understand this code, I don't even recommend that you guys watch my video. Just like read my code. My code is beautiful. He's really, really, really documented. You guys see that I actually write a lot of stuff here because I want you guys to actually just read it and you guys understand by yourselves. Don't be dummies. Use a little brain. But anyways, so moving forward, so this system, like spawn player when a car, when we receive on add core information, we are going to check the entity who had that information, added to it. So we are gonna grab entity. Grab entity. We're gonna grab entity. And as we grab entity, we are going to basically grab its player ID and blah blah blah. And we are going to do a function called formulate player. In this case, I'm not gonna, do a lot of stuff here. But why we're grabbing the entity? Because we want to actually add extra components to that core information. Those extra components is what is going to make our client player, also known as our predicted player. Okay, so that's really important. This guy is gonna be making our predicted player. You guys might be knowing his name is really, really something else, really something else. And we are going to learn how to do a predicted player, or better, a predicted entity in Lightyear. So let's get started. So as we do this formulate player, the first thing you guys are going to notice is that we intake this replicate component. Okay, this replicate component actually is really scary and has a lot of arguments, but don't worry, Perinky Master never forgives and never forgets. So he cares about you, and he cares so much that he actually commented out what each field in Replicate does. So first comes target. And you're probably wondering what the fuck this target does. Well, target is nothing more than the guy that tells me to whom should I replicate those red those entities. So in this case, since it's server, well, we're going to tell server via the network target all that he should replicate player to all. Replicate player to all. Replicate player to all. And let me just. Is there a way to increase this box? Yeah. Yeah, there is. So replicate player to all. So you're gonna notice that he replicates player to all. You know. So in this case, that's what it's going to do. Right now, you are using like all. Like there is like ways of making lobbies, rooms, and all that stuff. But this is not the focus, and this is going to be another mechanic that I'm probably going to teach you guys on a later notice because it becomes a little harder because then it breaks a little bit of the logic and the flow, and the flow tends to become a little more complex. But anyways, moving forward, we also have the sync argument here, and I recommend that you guys just follow what I did here. If you guys are new, if you guys are not new, so you don't need to follow what I did. And it's pretty simple. Sync is going to tell us if we should predict or interpolate that entity. So that's what he does. In this case, if you should predict or interpolate the entity, in this case, he tells that every single client should predict that entity, should predict that entity. So that means that every single client is going to predict and is going to create a predicted entity when we actually add this component to our player entity, which is basically this guy here. Okay, and second of all, and last but not least, we're going to have control by. And control by is really interesting. Control by is like, oh my Jesus. It simply tells who manages that guy. Who is the boss? Who is the boss? So who is the boss? Usually you're gonna notice that he's the only one who is actually a little different. We're not going to do target all. We're only going to make it single, which means that only one person is going to control him. And interesting enough, it's going to be the same client ID that actually spawned the player and actually had and sent the connect information. Remember that on mod we actually have like a little start server function, and every time we spawn player, like when we spawn player, when we actually receive core is when we actually connect. Remember that much. Like every single time we connect, we are going to actually check the core information. So remember that. And so that basically means that, like, for example, now here comes the shitty draws. So basically that means that when client connects to server, okay, oh, I'm getting better with my stuff. So when client connects to server, that means that, well, let me just think. Yes, when client connects to server, he server is gonna take his client ID, right? And he is gonna use that client ID to spawn player, okay, and spawn player and replicate player, which is our basically replicated entity now with the replicated component. So that's basically what's going to happen. Okay, so that's really important. Okay, guys, that you guys captivate. No, don't delete my shit. No. Okay. Anyways, fuck. Ah, careful now. Careful. Yes. Anyways, so that's basically what's happening here. So remember that it's like that little information that we received from this event that is being stored on player ID, and that's going to be the same guy that's going to be replicated. Okay, so every time when we connect, this guy is going to spawn a predicted and a confirmed entity in our client. And you're probably wondering, but I forgot my name in YouTube, but alternative potato. Oh yes. What the fuck is predicted? What the fuck is predicted? And what the fuck is confirmed? Well, to be honest, predicted is something that client is going to try to guess in the future what is gonna be. That's what I think it is. But I don't actually understand the technical details by the much. But I think that's pretty much like what I would say about predicted. It's like a guess from client. So basically, it's client. I like to say it's client information. Predicted is client information. And client information is going to be validated. So is going to be validated. Confirmed is actually, you know, server information. And server information is the one who is going to be, server information and is actually the true value, the true value of the information. Okay, so that's basically what it is. Okay, predicted and confirmed. There is better explanations out there. I recommend that if you guys don't know, Google it. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm going to do. And here, of course, like, I'm going to explain you guys this little function because this logic is pretty much over. We're already finishing our video. And here, we're going to have a little this spawn player when disconnects. And the spawn player with disconnects is really just a simple function that does what? Well, it takes the disconnect event, which is given by us by charitable Mr. Perry, and he is going to give that charitable event, and he's gonna give us the client ID who has to disconnect. And when he disconnects, you're gonna notice that I actually remove him from our little server client ID player map, and you're going to notice that I actually disposed him recursive. Why recursive? I don't know. He doesn't have child. But like maybe on the future he has, and I don't want to come back to this function. That's basically why I did it. So that's pretty much it. And oh, you're gonna notice there is an extra argument here that I forgot to explain. Lifetimes. Lifetime is persistent. To be completely honest, like documentation here is really good. So the entity is not despawned even if the controlling client disconnects. As the name incites, I actually like to control when someone connects and disconnects. And that's why I did it like this. So that's basically like why I actually make the despawn myself. Also because this tends to give a lot of warnings. I'm pretty sure that Pewinky fixed that on the last patch, but I'm not sure. So, and also because we can make cool mechanics, like for example, if someone rage quits, you can put like a dildo on top of his head or something like that. So that's basically it, guys, and that's it for our part of the video. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and interesting, next part is going to be getting started with our character customizer. See you guys later, and see you guys on the next part.